boy, here we go. My favorite series of all time, my favorite animated series of all time, from the 80s, and the modern paradigm of social justice and representation. So I'm going to go through this. It's a lot. There's a lot here. Robotech was revolutionary in its treatment of people of color. That term again, women and feminine men. Which is funny. When I saw feminine men, I thought immediately of one character in it, but another character seemed to be in for that, which is says more about the people involved with this than the character. Will this continue in future Robotech projects? Well, you can be sure that since that's all people talk about and are focused on now in the culture, you're pretty sure that any future Robotech project is going to be like that. And the thing is that there was a lot of diversity in Robotech. I actually wrote something on a blog journal once on another site about Robotech, and then how it had a lot of diverse elements. Women fighting, which I don't approve of, but in Robotech, the reason is because there's not a lot of humans left, and you had characters of different nationalities and whatnot. You had these things, and they were all done by a very homogeneous country, ethnocentric country of Japan. But they were about the future, and it would make sense. These things were normal. And a lot of cartoons in the 80s and comics had diverse casts. So why are they making such a big deal about this now? It's because the paradigm of today is this thing. But what's the difference between what was done back then and why are they making a big deal about it now if it was done all this time? Because I'll explain the difference, but let's just go through this here. Robotech is the rare 80s cartoon that actually holds up. Robotech does hold up very well, but 80s cartoons, a lot of them hold up. A lot of them are fun. But Robotech is the best because I've mentioned it before. It kept all the dramatic elements. Series like Transformers, He-Man, and Voltron were filled with mostly white characters and barely featured any women. Like there's something wrong with having mostly white characters. Who's this? Seamus Kelly. Barely featured any women. Robotech, on the other hand, had a much larger cast of women, which is true, and which I liked a lot when I was 12 and seeing all these cute women, and people of color. Okay. As far as we know, Robotech is the first animated show in the West where there was an interracial couple. Steve Yeun, vice president of New Media and Harmony Gold, puts it. There were no weird stereotypes in it. Okay, he's talking about Claudia Grant and Roy Fokker. Now, the relationship between Claudia Grant and Roy Fokker was a key part of the Macross saga. It wasn't a flawless romance, and that's what made it so revolutionary. Two professional adults with working lives. It was this relationship was very sad how it ended. Roy is killed, and she was a bridge member of the bridge crew, and he was the leader of the flight squadrons. So they were usually would talk to each other and do funny banter. It was really a nice relationship. Obviously, this is remember Robotech. None of this stuff is written by people in America. All these shows were mostly written in Japan and produced, and then were adapted and put together by Carl Masick. So this is probably these characters were the American characters in the show. So the Japanese probably looked and said, "Okay, in America, there's different kinds of people, and we'll put them together." That's the Japanese doing it innocently, and it worked. And it was really sad what happened to Roy and how Claudia had to deal with it. So going back here, going lower. Okay, it's a non-issue with an interracial couple. They date, and that's okay. That's how you have to treat them. Why would you draw attention to it? I agree. Why would you draw attention to it? Because you have to draw attention to it today, because you're doing things like this, or you're drawing attention to things like this for a purpose that has nothing to do with actual diversity. Okay, so it should also be known that the lead character of Minmay, it was Chinese. Okay, yes, she was. Her ethnicity isn't a super huge plot point. Why would it be? Why would it be a big plot point? She's just Chinese. Okay, Go here. Dennis Sterling was a rare find in 80s kids entertainment, a leading woman in an action-based series. Half human, half alien, she frequently dealt with xenophobic attitudes from her fellow soldiers. That's actually not true in the cartoon. Any negative ways that she was viewed or treated in the show was because she was kind of a ditz and she always was disobeying orders and was slightly incompetent, but she had good instincts. So this never comes up. Okay, because in the original show that this is based on, she's just a human. She's not the son. She's not the daughter, excuse me. Oh boy, let me mix that up. She's not half human, half alien. She's a woman on a colony where they have women fighting. So here we go. Sometimes still childish. Well, that's the thing I was talking about. So it's funny how they keep putting these things up and putting a modern spin on it, and then they keep coming back to what I'm telling you, because I was there. I watched this damn show when it was on. Okay, all right. Drawing many female fans. Now this was true. This was interesting when it first ran. Apparently in '85, there was a lot of female fans. Now the reason for this was this show was very dramatic. It was like a soap opera, I guess, but it was drama. I guess the Japanese expected more from their audiences of young people, and they appreciated things like drama, especially in a war situation. So that was true, and that was very good. A good thing about Robotech, that it was very dramatic and soap opera-ish, but not in a good way, because it's kind of hard to have a soppy soap opera in the middle of apocalyptic wars where humanity could barely is the underdog. All right, so here we go. More diverse male characters, including Bowie Grant, who defied stereotypes as a soldier. This is Bowie Grant here. Unlike some of his action-obsessed fellow soldiers, he was more in touch with his feelings. Okay. If you know anything about the Robotech Masters, it's the second part of Robotech. It's Southern Cross is the original series. Action-obsessed fellow soldiers. These people are fighting for their lives. Southern Cross is not liked a lot for some reason. It actually has more battles than the other two series, which I have a lot of battles to begin with. And it's a really senseless war, and there's just a lot of killing in it of the humans who are no match for the aliens, but still grind it out with them. And it's also more sad to realize that all their sacrifice is going to be in vain in the third series when Earth is taken over anyway, despite their sacrifices. So here they're talking about Bowie, a black man with some traditionally feminine traits. Okay, why would he be? There's nothing feminine about Bowie in the show. He's good with his hands. He's a good soldier. He actually has more sense than his commander, Dana, and tries to keep her out of trouble. He likes music, and he does. After a while, he starts to hate the war because the squad they're in, you see it in the first episode, there's like 20 guys. Near the end of the show, almost none of them are left except for him and a few of the others. So yeah, he's going to hate the war. So why he would have feminine traits, I don't know why they're putting that on there. Anyway, so now we get to the character who I thought they were going to refer to. New generation, i.e. Genesis Climber Mospita, there was Lancer. A male soldier, I'm just reading what's written here, regularly dressed in feminine clothing and was a major pop idol. Okay. Rather than just being a disguise to hide from the invid, Lancer seemed perfectly content to bask in his feminine side and had no problem wearing makeup. Okay. Much like Bowie, he even ended up with a girl in the end. Yeah, well, because Lancer, aka Yellow, was from Mospita, was a heterosexual man. And a very masculine man, too. He didn't dress in feminine clothing. He was dressing up as a woman for guerrilla purposes and as a disguise. If you see the origin of the character, he was one of the few survivors of an initial attack to try to free the Earth from these invid aliens that failed utterly. And he had to dress up like a woman to survive. And then he used it as a weapon, as a way to disguise himself as he would continue to fight on in an almost hopeless situation. So this is a little misleading right here. I had no problem wearing makeup. Well, if you're dressing up like a woman, you're going to have to wear makeup, I assume. So anyway, so this is another representation of this, which is they're trying to apply modern paradigms today. Well, if you apply the modern paradigm, then he would be a trans character, which he was not. He was a man. In the original Japanese version, he had a deep voice as a man, and he even chastised one of the other members who was panicking that he was being unmanly, which was kind of funny. But anyway, we go down further here. One of the things I was upset about with Academy not taking off, this Robotech Academy, which is one of these Kickstarter things, which I don't get Kickstarter. You're begging people for money, to give you money. One of the things I was upset about not taking off is that we had a young black boy and a white girl as the two leads. Nothing wrong with that. I thought that was pretty brave of us at the time. Whoa, Steve, slow down. You're not supposed to blow your own horn, buddy. That's not what it's about. You're supposed to just do it and not make a big deal about it. If what you want is that, if you want to negate and do something else and at the expense of other groups of people, well, that's a different story. But I'm not saying that he's doing that. I'm just saying that this was just a weird thing to say. He's just trying to fit in with the thing now, I guess, and make this relevant, since now all this stuff is just everywhere all the time. It's not perfect. His design and it's best uncomfortable. What's wrong with this? Thankfully, it was changed. Okay, so now he just looks like a white man with a tan. Over here, he's supposed to look is problematic. What's problematic about that? I don't get it. It's a problem with who's ever writing this, apparently. There's nothing wrong with this man here. This is what I'm getting at. So instead, he looks more, like. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah, here we go. So now they talk about sexualize. You're gonna be sexy. I think that's fine, but over sexualizing at this point is not necessary. Some of it was out of control. Let's see. Yeah, God forbid you have like women, attractive, curvy women in the show. It's like, all right. So now we're all Puritans. Okay, so you see how these contradictions are banging into each other. This is the cognitive dissonance I talk about. So here we go. Going forward, the team behind Robotech hopes to continue the original show's diversity. Okay, yeah, because the original show was diverse. Open to diversity. Okay, so they're trying to fit this into the modern paradigm where diversity is made to attack traditional values, which none of the diversity in the original Robotech show was there. These people didn't fight to undermine the society and the masculinity and the people in the future. With unlike diversity in quotation marks. We live in a different world than when the original series was produced. I know, man. Like I keep saying, the freaking early 80s was like 1,000 years ago, man. I mean, get with it. We live in a different world. It's like, what does that mean? Okay, it was a very progressive show done by the very homogeneous Japanese. But you still live in a different world. So what does that mean? You're going to go further? It's important for us to be respectful first and foremost. Treat the characters with respect. Well, that I agree with. You should. The commitment to diversity. So this is like, you see what this is. This is very annoying to me because, like they said, they're putting this modern paradigm of diversity on a show that already had it. But it had it organically. Which is, if you say, if it's organic, then you're racist, probably, or you have white privilege, which is all this bullshit that's being used now to attack. This is a weapon. All right, let's finish this up here. You're going to do a Mexican character? I don't believe this. I think this is a guy making this up here. Please don't make that character a janitor. And I looked at him and said, I will never do that. I will never do that ever. Okay. All right. This I don't even believe. Anyway, so this is the article. Very politically correct. These guys are fitting it into the modern paradigm of a show that had tons of diversity and was very good. The diversity today, though, is being used for a much different purpose than what this was. So thank the homogeneous Japanese for this diversity. All right, later.